Solid body electric guitars has been a process of evolution. The launch of the Strat in 1954.
60 years. There's not much that stands that test of time anymore.
In 1951, Gibson guitar president Ted McCarty brought in a sonic innovator to consult on an electric guitar design to compete with Fender's new Esquire and Broadcaster models.
The Les Paul in 1958.
Who would have thought that this instrument would eventually become one of the most recognizable and influential instruments ever created?
In the 80s, 90s, we saw all of these guitars getting industrialized and the production going up. But there were some dark horses which were emerging, like the Parker Fly.
Hot is what you'd have to call the new Parker guitar. The design and features of these revolutionary instruments are taking the music industry by storm.
It was a class of its own. In 2000s, we saw brands like Strandberg who were taking a bold step in the guitar design.
Attracted to innovation, different kinds of guitars.
We are here to talk about a brand which is adding on to this guitar revolution in general, and that's Enya. And this guitar is basically the Sonic. So this is the Sonic. Super lightweight. Weighs 2.72 kgs or 6 pounds exactly, because it's made completely from carbon fiber. What's here? This is an integrated speaker system which also has a speaker emulation which is like an IR. It has electronics built in. It has FX and DSP processing inside. 2 pickups, a classic combination in a Les Paul style body. This is an Alnico 5 and this is an Alnico 2. There are 2 volume knobs. So this is for your process signal and this is for your guitar pickups. In the processing side, this guitar has amp simulations built in. When you're playing, you can actually combine these two the way you would combine the volume and the gain level of an amp, and then basically playing on with your guitar pickup volume. And that's the way I use it. There are multiple ways one can use it. It's a 3-way pickup selector, and you also have a push-pull on the volume knob, which is for a series of parallel for the neck pickup. It starts off with a 0 fret. Behind the 0 fret, it's a very well cut nut. As you hit towards fret 19 onwards, the cutaway is so smooth that I can actually, you can see where my finger is reaching without any effort. So it's a beautiful neck. The overall length of the guitar is just 38 inches, but not compromising on the scale length. This is actually a full length guitar. You don't have cutaway sockets, nothing. It's just, even the string through body is behind this. It has a rubber bush covering it. Now, unlike a normal electric solid body guitar, which has 1 jack, this has 3, including this USB out. There are 5 ways you can basically play this guitar. One is basically the inbuilt speaker where the signal is processed through the DSP. The same output of the speaker can be routed to this headphone jack, which you can basically use as a monitor or silent playing for your practices. The speaker out in certain situations can actually go directly into the board also, especially if you have a smaller venue and a smaller mixer or a lower output power amp. You can actually use this jack to go into the board. Next comes your normal guitar jack. When this switch is turned on, as it's turned on now, you're switching through the patches when I'm pressing it. The output of this guitar jack is a processed output which is coming from the DSP. So it's combining the signal from your pickups, going through the DSP. The process signal is coming out of this. So this can go either into your sound card for your recording, or you can basically choose only to use some of the effects which is basically in front of the amp. So this can go into the DAW, this can go into the amp. Now third is this USB-C Type-C port, which is used for charging, but it has a very important function, at least for me. The moment you plug it in, it has a built-in sound card. So when you plug your cable and go into the DAW, what happens is you can choose your outputs in the DAW, but in one of the settings, even in a mobile environment, you can actually use this speaker as your monitor. Lay down your tracks, play the way you would actually use this guitar in a studio, even on the go. Or in cases, for an intermediate player who has not yet got a sound card, this is a great entry point into the recording world. Okay, this is as modern as it gets. So this guitar has an app. So after you connect seamlessly using your Bluetooth, you basically come to a screen which is nothing but your patches. And it has 4 bands divided into clean, overdrive, distortion and high gain. But those are names which can again be customized, and you can store whatever you want in any of these banks. Each bank has 4 patches. It shows you which patch is your active patch. You can basically edit, and it starts off like a typical signal chain. It gives you the amp you want to choose. So you have a clean amp and you have a high gain amp. High gain amp says 100 distortion, a 5-band EQ with a pre-gain control. So pretty much all the tones that you would want can be very easily customized. It also has a noise reduction, which comes in handy especially when you're playing through the inbuilt speaker. The modulation is very, very simple. It has my favorite 80s drippy chorus. It has a tremolo and it has a vibrato. All of them are super easy, and pretty much if you are into classic rock or all the way to blues or even to an extent modern, these are typically the modulation effects that you would typically go for. A delay is a very straightforward delay. So it's a 3 knob which gives you a time, feedback and level. There's a reverb which is again based on where you keep your level, gives the overall reverb output and the decay levels of there's no pre-delay on the reverb, but it sounds very pleasing. So these are the various effects. Now let's go back and you can save. I'm not saving it because it's a pre-saved patch for me. When you go back to the screen, this is a very, very handy tool if at all you're getting into tracking or you're connected the guitar to the board or to the DAW or anything of that sort. Setting the levels here, if at all you're streaming your backing track or a drum track or a drum and bass track, or you're running all of that through your guitar also, and then you're recording it, these levels will make your mixing and mastering very, very easy later. Then you have the last screen, which is basically your typical factory reset and firmware update, and it gives you a time, if at all, because this is a lithium ion battery inside which is powering the guitar. If at all you want to conserve power, you can put on the settings here for auto shutdown. If you're not playing the guitar for 15 minutes, 30 minutes or 60 minutes, that's up to you. It will automatically shut down the guitar. So that's the app. Okay, so who should go for this guitar? Now that's a broad spectrum. I would ideally recommend this guitar pretty much everyone, but to be very specific about it because I cannot be completely generic. If you are an intermediate player and you're just entering that jamming, gigging world, and you want to explore how you sound on a track, or you want to compose your own music and you want to lay down scratches, I think this is a perfect instrument to start with, because first, you're not blowing a lot of cash, because this guitar is very, very economically priced for the value it brings on the table. Second, once you get this guitar, you are avoiding other expenses attached to your level up, because you have a sound card which is expensive, and you have an inbuilt monitor or any good quality headphones which can act as a monitor, because again, monitors are ridiculously expensive. So if you're just entering that space of tracking your music, go for it. If you're an absolute pro, and I'm talking about absolute pro, you're a composer, you're a gigging musician, you're a sessions musician, this is gonna solve a lot of your troubles. Because this guitar is, it has these built-in functions, you can lay down your ideas immediately. There is no time lag. In terms of your practice, there is no time lag for putting your amps, waiting for your tube amps to warm up and you say attaching the guitar to the pedal board. You will focus more on the job in hand rather than the ancillaries attached to it. Third, because this guitar is so lightweight, you can carry this around much more easier, and because the pickups, the inbuilt pickups are amazing, and maybe we'll do a follow-up video on that, but you can pretty much use this as a normal guitar as well as your practice guitar, so it's going to solve a lot of your problems. So if you're a pro, you're a touring musician, you're a recording musician, go for it. So this guitar, in my opinion, is again, as Enya mentions in the tagline, opens up a new era for electric guitars. I think this is one of those guitars which is going to leave a mark, in terms of its functionality, in terms of its durability. That's an aspect I did not speak at all in this whole video. Monsoons are coming in. I'm pretty sure my studio, all my guitars will see a little bit of a forward movement. I'll have to change the strings, adjust the truss rod. There is no, I don't think so there'll be a need for truss rod adjustment in this. And if at all there is a fine tuning you want to do for your playability, not because of the weathering issue, the truss rod access again in this is super easy. It's just a spoke wheel. You don't have to open up anything or open up the neck, nothing. It's just a spoke wheel here. So it's an amazing guitar for anyone who has just gone beyond the basics and entering into the world of good quality instruments in their in the workshop.